Last week I was watching a show. It was actually a sitcom, but anyway, the scene was that the mom and dad and the child came in from a football game, and the first thing the mom says when she comes through the door is, you know, I really love to watch my kids play sports. I just wish they could win once in a while. And the dad walks in and he makes a couple of comments about the coach. Can you imagine somebody criticizing a coach? So the kid walks in and the kid says something about the coach also. And then the mom thinks and she says, should we criticize the coach in front of the children? Makes you think, right? Well, the next little bit further into the show, they come in, kind of the same scene, but a little bit different attitude, because now they're jubilant, right? The team won the game, and they can't believe that the coach called this trick play at the end of the game, and they made the touchdown and won the game. And then the kid says, well, it wasn't the coach. I changed the play when he sent me on the field. Then the next scene comes in, and the kid's coming in from practice, and the mom says, well, how was practice today? He says, I don't know. I ran stadiums the whole time. There was a punishment for not obeying the coach, right? Have we ever been in that kind of situation where we were told to do something on a job or given some type of instruction and thought we knew better? We didn't have to listen to the boss or whoever was the leader, because I knew a better plan. I knew a shortcut. I knew a better way to do this. You know, when I was in the oil field, we used to think that all the time. You know, it's been a long time since he's really worked a day. Maybe I know a little bit easier way to do it. The problem with that is that if it goes wrong, we're responsible. You can't blame it on, well, I did it the way you said to do it, right? We're responsible for what we do. And we have to remember that sometimes we have to do the things even though we disagree with them, or the way we disagree with. And as Catholic Christians, we have to know that this life that we have has just been loaned to us. Or it's like it says in the gospel, it's leased to us. And God has a plan for each and every one of us, right? He has a way that He wants us to do things. We listened to the gospel today, and it talks about how, you know, the tenants didn't provide the landowner the produce that he came for. They kind of changed the deal. They abused his servants. They killed his son. They did all of these things. And what was going to happen to them in the end? There was going to be a punishment to be paid for not obeying the rule, for not following the plan, the deal, the way it was made, right? But you see, we have to remember that God has a plan for us. And He wants us to follow that plan. He's asking us one thing, and that's to love Him. But you see, this week, when I was preparing, there was one little word in the gospel that really set me aside. One little word that kind of changed the whole thing for me. It's at the very end of the gospel when Jesus tells them, He says, you know, the kingdom of heaven will be taken away from you and given to those who will produce its fruit. Its fruit. Now wait a second, you know, that kind of set me aside, because I'm thinking, you know, here I am trying to do God's will in my life, but am I producing fruit for myself? Am I doing these things because it makes me feel good? Or am I producing the fruit for the kingdom of heaven? Am I doing God's will? Am I producing its fruit? Do I do things just because they make me feel good, or do I do the things that God is calling me to do because they need to be done? Its fruit. That really set me aside. It really took me back, and to make you look at your life and wonder, you know, have I ever led anyone to church? See, that's a question we may never be able to answer. Have I ever led someone to church by my actions, by the things that I do, by the deeds that I have done? Have I ever led someone back to church, back to Jesus Christ? An easier question we can probably answer is, have I ever sinned with someone? Its fruit. You see, God is calling us to help build the kingdom of heaven. God is calling us to do those things that He's asking us to do. You know, how often do we come to Mass and listen to the readings? We listen to the gospel like the last few weeks. Jesus hits us with these parables. And if we internalize these things, they challenge us to improve our lives. We come to Mass and we listen to the insightful and challenging homily of a humble priest or the ramblings of a deacon. And we go home and we sit down and we say, you know what? I don't care what he said. I'm not doing those things. I'm not listening to him. Who does he think he is? Trust me, I know those things are said because I've said them. Because God is challenging us to change our lives. He's challenging us to go a little bit deeper, to go a little bit further into helping to build the kingdom of heaven, to build its fruit. To do what we do for the love of God, for the love of Jesus Christ. To take on that extra challenge that He gives us each and every day. To try not to let those occasions pass by. Those instances that spring up on us, that test us. As we continue to try to build its fruit. In that show, at the end of it, the kid is sitting on the sofa and is going to quit football because he didn't like the punishment that was coming from not obeying the coach. And the dad had, sat down and he says, I don't want you to quit. Because you got to think about this. He said, when you walked out on the field and you changed the play, what if the other players would have done what they wanted to do and not listened to you? And the kid says, well, we'd have probably lost the game. I said, exactly. So you see, sometimes we have to listen even though we disagree. Sometimes we have to face the challenge, even if it really challenges us. There's another phrase I heard this week and that really challenged, right? And it said, if Christianity was made illegal today, could I be convicted of a crime? Or would I be released for lack of evidence? You see, we're the only ones that can answer that question. We're the only ones that can look deep into ourselves and see if we're building its fruit. I'll say it again. If Christianity was made illegal today, could I be convicted of a crime? Or would I be released for lack of evidence?